the one time. It's the family bloodline.
Hey, what's good, good people? We back, Family Bloodline Podcast in the house for the Wednesday night edition. Holy cow. I'm gonna start with this disclaimer. Views expressed to those held by the author and do not represent any other organization, company, corporations, or entity.
Oh, we don't need that no more. We're free
Actually,
until Deuce comes up.
Yeah, until Deuce hop on.
All right. Be free right now. So be free.
Free. So
okay.
Yeah, we got a lot happening. I'm gonna hop into it. How has your week been so far?
You know what? It doesn't even matter. My life doesn't exist.
I got you.
So I'm gonna come out fast and quick.
Let's do it.
To the Charlie Kirk family, you have our deepest condolences.
Absolutely.
Political violence is not the answer. I may not agree with every single word that you have said, but you have that right to speak controversial stuff in a non-violent, peaceful manner in this country on a college campus, which should be a safe haven. This is wrong. And I'm not going to, since I don't belong to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, this is wrong. So I'll follow that real quick with this, and then I'll slow down. President Trump. See, all you people on here who say that I'm a supporter of President Trump, hear me loud and clear. President Trump, I want to hear you come out right now and declare the death penalty for whoever that person, which most likely was a man, that shot Charlie Kirk. I want you to come out right now and demand the death penalty the way you did that brother down in North Carolina. Now, they say he's schizophrenic. If he is schizophrenic, he can't control his actions, then you can't demand a death penalty for a person like that. But you did it anyway. Fair enough. Because that young lady should have never had her life taken from her, running from a war zone country, war-plagued country, Ukraine, if I'm correct, if it's Ukraine, and came to America looking for a better life legally. That she shouldn't have to ride public transportation and have her life taken from her. And unfortunately, it would have to be a minority with dreadlocks in his hair. As if the dreadlock Rastafarians are out here trying to kill people. Not the good Rastas. They don't do that.
They do not.
I'm done.
No, they do not. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. But you already started down that path. Mr. Charlie Kirk, the late Charlie Kirk, was killed earlier today on a college campus, and I'll even say in cold blood. All right, and there's literally nothing that I agreed on with Charlie Kirk. But the one thing that I don't agree with is shooting a man down in the street because you don't like his opinion on stuff. I think that is a very cowardly act. I think that the person who did it was willing to put even more Americans' lives at risk by shooting or firing from a crowd. And if you really hated him that much, why didn't you go face to face and let him know at that point? Why didn't you do that like an appearance in court? Why didn't you let him see your face? That way he could have probably and possibly protected himself against your hateful actions. There's one thing that I posted it on TikTok not too long ago. And I mentioned Arkansas and I mentioned Nebraska. But the precursor to that was American hate. American hate. There is no party that has a monopoly over two things in America. That is American racism and American hatred, which hold hands as they walk down the block and destroy the American streets. Charlie Kirk was an unfortunate victim, and I'll call him a victim of American hatred. An unhinged American that did not agree with his rhetoric. And I don't agree with that. I don't think he should have been. There's nothing that I agree with Charlie Kirk on. Nothing. But I do agree that his child, just like all other black babies and kids, his child still had a right to grow up with his father.
2 kids.
Yeah, that's right. His children still had a right to grow up with their dad. His wife had a right to grow old with her husband. And now he's been robbed of that. And I do not agree with that. An American killing another American over politics. And this is where both of these parties got me fucked up. They both have blood on their hands for this. Just like with the Democratic representative in Minnesota, her and her husband.
Who were killed.
The ones that were killed, yeah.
They were state representatives.
State representatives, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
These politicians have blood on their hands because they continue to play politics, and it's affecting people's lives to the point to where they've got fanatics running around out here willing to risk it all and end somebody's life. Politics is a game to some, but unfortunately, it's life to others.
And we got to say this, because I'm not a fan of Gavin Newsom, Governor Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan really of Nancy Pelosi.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked. He should have died that night. And
Right.
I didn't hear no outroar from the Republican Party. Now, the Republican Party, some of them people have come out already and said, this is a war that we're going through right now because the left are attacking us. Now, the left, if they come back and say, well, you guys, you've been attacking us too, it's kind of equal. We actually have bipartisan agreement. The right says they don't want to hear that. But when you come out and say, when the right comes out and say, I think Jesse Waters said something on a clip. Oh gosh, I forgot which Republican federal legislators came out and said that this is a war. I think Steve Bannon, and I like Steve Bannon. He said this is a war. When you use words like that this is a war, that's going to hit a trigger in certain people. I'll say this. Right now, it's September the 10th. You and I both know by December or January, someone on the left will be shot and murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, who will it be? No one knows. But someone. So anytime we talk about a school shooting, the Democrats say we got to get guns out of people's hands. And the Republicans say, no, that's not the answer. But regardless of the answer, they don't put security in the schools. They say we can't afford that. You can't afford that. So you're telling me you can't afford to protect a child. But now the child has grown up, dropped out of college, became successful, got married, had 2 kids, and now the child became a man, but at the age of 31, he's gone because you didn't protect the kids in the school to begin with to let them know that your life means something.
Yeah.
Where's your security at on these college campuses at? What are they doing? Well, we can't afford to do that. And I get offended as a military veteran because when you tell, let me slow down.
No, keep it pushing.
So when you tell me as a military veteran, you don't have enough money to provide security for our children or our college leaders, future leaders of the country who go to college, but you'll send me across that ocean well equipped. Well, hopefully I'm well equipped, hopefully, to die, to help somebody else. So at what part am I a Democrat or a Republican? Because I would simply say, first of all, you take care of your home country first. But that sounds like a Republican American first. But they're right. But from both sides, you must provide security on these college campuses and in these schools.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as you can keep putting billions upon billions into that Pentagon, and that's the money that we know goes in there, and then there's no accountability. But you tell me we can't afford to do this, we can't afford to do that. But when the time comes, you can afford to rebuild Iraq, Afghanistan, and anybody else you want to rebuild. Period.
Let me state this also, and this is in the same vein as American hatred not being monopolized by either party. Man, the thought almost slipped away from me. I have continuously heard that, and I hate it because it is being pushed by the administration. Sending troops into here, so on and so forth. And what you were saying when you said that, it just made me think that Americans are complacent, and Americans have abused our point and our ability to enjoy democracy the way it is. That's what's happened. And with this fictitious love and lust of war, people think they really want to see it played out here at home. And that is no way to be. I'm a war vet. The idea of Americans shooting and killing other Americans is absolutely preposterous. I don't care how much you hate a person. The cries for civil war because people are too ignorant to simply be decent and look at another person and say, you know what? I don't like them. I don't agree with them. So let me keep my distance. It becomes, I don't like them, and I have a Second Amendment right. The dehumanization of Americans by other Americans has led to this. And again, it's been propagated by politicians. The Democrats are guilty of it. The Republicans are guilty of it. Even as this man's blood was running cold, it began to become politicized. His heart didn't even get to finish beating. His wife didn't even get to start shed. Her tears hadn't even hit the floor, and it began to become politicized just that fast. I did not like what Charlie Kirk said. I can't say I did not like him. I didn't know him as a person, but I did not agree with his philosophies.
And you heard what happened in the Congress. At least this is what was reported on News Nation with Chris Cuomo. Marjorie Taylor Greene asked for a moment of silence. I think she asked for a moment of silence, or somebody else asked for that. So both parties said no problem in honor of Charlie Kirk. Okay. So then Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene said, "Listen, let's do we want to say a prayer in honor of Charlie Kirk." Other side said, "Nope, we ain't praying. You didn't pray for those them school shootings." Now, hold on. Obviously, they didn't listen to Michelle Obama. She said, "When they go low, we go high." See, this is where I really wear people's asses out, because they say, "Well, Richard, you're out of control. You sound angry." Yeah, but now the Democrats is playing that same type of game the Republicans are playing. But there's someone dead. So like you said, 2 kids and a wife, they don't have their daddy and husband anymore. He's gone. And listen to this. He didn't run. He took on all comers. He didn't put a hood over his head. And they said, well, the new Klan, they don't put hoods over them. They just kind of out in front. Whatever.
Yeah.
But he didn't back down from his principles. He wasn't out here high on crack cocaine, wasn't selling drugs. None of that. Now, he said that white people didn't have privilege.
Yeah.
Anyway, he should still be alive to be able to run his mouth and do what he wants to do in a nonviolent, peaceful manner and exercise his political ideology. Period.
Yeah.
And for the Democrats to not really echo the strength behind that statement, saying, well, when we lose stuff or whatever, things happen to us, you Republicans turn your back on us. So what you're really doing is you're really reaffirming what Gavin Newsom is doing. Since President Trump wants to go down to Texas and redistrict that state to get votes, then Gavin's like, well, since you're going to act a fool down here in Texas and not wait every 10 years for the census for the redistricting, then I'm just going to do the same thing you're doing. Well, then you ain't no better than Trump. And that's what I told people from the very beginning about these two individuals. They're the same two people, just on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. And so I will say this. I do not agree with First Lady Obama when they go low, you go high. I don't agree with that statement. I don't. Because I say you match shit. You match where people are, but you don't. When it gets to the point of Americans killing Americans, we've gone too far. That is a bridge that should not be crossed, right? Even if it comes down to well then knuckle up, because we've gotten so involved with the rhetoric of these folks who actually go play golf together once they're not on TV. You know, they go work out together when they're not on TV. When they're not doing all this having these performative interactions, they hang out with each other. The American people are getting so caught up in their rhetoric that they set out to kill this guy. Again, absolutely. I don't agree with a single word that man ever spoke. Never happened. But go ahead.
He shouldn't have lost his life. Anybody who's watching this show, we're gonna go back in time for a second. Those two people, and were they weren't Jewish. Well, maybe they were Jews. At the temple, at the synagogue, when the guy came in there that pro-Palestinian Latino and shot them up. Yeah. Killed them. Where was the outrage? Okay. Now, if someone says, well, Israel's been a terrorist organization, a terrorist country, they're not the real Israel, they're not a real country, they've been giving Hamas the blues all of these years. There may be some truth to that. But when Hamas retaliates, then you know better. So what do you have? War on war. But when you kill innocent people, you know what that tells me? What I've believed all along. When you go to war with somebody, you're coming for them and their children and their wives. Oh, yes, you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it wasn't enough outrage. And to the Republicans who are outraged right now at the Democrats, where was that outrage when Governor Shapiro, a Jew, who will tell you he's Jewish, had his house, I think, firebombed or whatever, a few months back? Mm-hmm. Where was the outrage for that Jew? Oh, because he's a liberal Jew, a Democrat Jew, the outrage ain't there. But if he had been a conservative Jew, then the outrage would have been there. But he's still a Jew. Okay?
And I'll even...
You know, you look at all these different killings that's happened. Oh, what was the last school shooting? I can't... Oh, God, which one was it?
Not too long ago.
I'm trying to think of the school. Yeah, the kid went up in the school.
You talking about the one down in Texas?
Was that the most recent one?
No, there was one that happened, I think a month or two ago, if memory serves me right.
All right, well, not the one in Valdez, Uvalde or whatever. Not that one. Not the one in Florida. not the Sandy Hook up there on the East Coast.
Yeah. There was one today. I didn't even read about that one.
Somebody died?
Jeez.
Somebody died?
I don't know.
Somebody's gonna have to text us on that. Because
yeah,
I try to memorize a lot of stuff, but sometimes. Good evening, Maya. I have a good recall, but once you start counting school shootings is like counting black men who died with the interaction with the police. Pretty soon, it's like, how many dates do I got to memorize? And then I have to still memorize Dr. King's assassination date, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers. How much do you expect from me? And I got a pretty good retention, but how much do I have to remember to where I feel like I'm overwhelmed?
And that's
died today.
That's the point that I keep making about American hatred. Would I pray for Charlie Kirk? Absolutely not. No.
I will.
And that's fine. The reason why I say no is because I don't think he and I have the same deity. And that's the honest truth, right? He had a movement of white supremacy and Christianity, white Christian nationalism about himself that I don't get with. So he and I wouldn't be able to pray to the same deity, right? So, but that doesn't mean that I remove compassion and empathy from him, right? Again, Americans oh my God, we're so far lost. Everybody has this romance with war and being in the fight. There's this wanting to be in the antebellum part of life for some people, wanting the South to rise again, and that's nothing more than hatred. There's folks who want a civil war to happen because they think that they have some type of right to this country that nobody else does, and that's hatred. There are Democratic people who think Charlie Kirk should have been killed.
Hold on.
Because of his free speech.
Check this out. Maya Kay says, First Lady Obama's statement was a situational context. She was speaking to a specific audience. Technically, she's right.
Mm-hmm.
She's right. But, and I guess there was a school shooting at the Evergreen High School in Colorado. Remember, we had this conversation a few weeks ago or a few months ago about that school shooting. And what did I say? We'll be talking about this within 3 to 6 months again.
Yeah.
And we'll keep talking.
Yeah.
I had a conversation at the barbershop today. And we'll keep talking about this. And you know why? Because you won't solve the problem. You won't, don't address the problem. Solve it. Well, you have to address it to know how to solve it. No, you know what the answer is. You got to put security in the schools. But back to Charlie Kirk about the issue of prayer and why I would still pray for his family that they'll be okay. It's not popular to say, since nobody's ever seen God. Listen to this. Nobody's ever seen God. But Jesus and all the angels are being portrayed as being white. See, you don't want that conversation on TV. That doesn't sell. Because that's going to really cause the civil war. See, as long as one group of people believe that Jesus and God and the angels are white, well, then everything should be benefited for them, period. Because they're the promised people. And within those promised people, there's a smaller group of even more promised people. If you believe that. That's what this country is based off of.
It is. And I'll say, go ahead.
Yeah. So with that being said, if you say it, they say, well, Richard, you sound racist against white people.
That's just a fact.
I still believe in God and Jesus Christ. Yeah, but Richard, you said that Jesus was black. Yes. And all them folks in the Old Testament, they were black folks too. But you don't want that out. And all of Egypt was black. The slaves, they were black. And the Pharaoh and his little crew, them black folks too. No, you don't want to talk about that. Okay, so we're gonna put the religion off to the side for a second, since you don't want to talk about that. And then when other black folks get at you about Israel, about them not really being Israel, and that was only recreated for a political purpose for a Zionist movement funded by who? Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Okay, but you can't. So we can't talk about that. But you want to talk about critical race and say that you're being demonized. Maybe you are being demonized somewhat. So when one group of people say, we're going to talk about the whole shebang of how this country got started and who benefited the most and why, certain white people say, oh, no, it's not like that at all. And now Charlie Kirk is born.
Mm.
And now it's gone.
Yeah, their MLK is gone. Yep, I said that. And let me also bring this out just so I can put a point of humanism on this as well. The reason why a lot of what we say is going to hit folks differently is because our people, our culture, we're not a culture full of hatred, generally speaking, right? Generally speaking, now we'll hate on each other all day, but for everybody else, we'll accept everybody else's shit. For some reason, that's how we're programmed in America, right? A lot of the things that we did before this election happened wasn't just for our benefit. It was for everybody's benefit. Everybody's benefit. Our whole movement of civil rights was for everybody's benefit at the end of the day. Like, if you look at the platforming that people have done after the Civil Rights Acts to get to where they are now, and who by and large often have made further strides than what we have in the political strata. But we don't want to see people's husbands and fathers getting killed because we went through that. We don't want to see people's daughters being abused because we went through that. We don't want to see people's families being torn apart because we went through that. So our movement has been largely a movement of compassion, understanding, and passion because we understand what it feels like to be those people subjected to these things. Charlie Kirk got killed, and this is the truth of it. A lot of white people around the United States are losing their goddamn minds because they feel like their freedom fighter has been murdered. Well, and rightfully so. Yeah. Right? That because he literally had a platform that was pushing that for them. And that's not something we wanted because we've been through that. Like you said, Medgar Evers, MLK Jr., Brother Shabazz, all of our leaders that have come before us.
The little girls from Birmingham that got the church they got.
Hell, our churches have been run up in. Our houses have been run up in. There's literally no place that we've occupied that hasn't been run up in, and we've not been the victim of the exact same thing that they're experiencing now.
Hold on. Remember when I was talking about how some people believe that Jesus and the angels, that they're white people.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you believe that Jesus and the angels are white people and that you came and you enslaved some Africans and took them to America, then you feel justified in doing that. And then they tell you in the Bible that slavery was justified. But then when I tell you the whole scripture, Deuteronomy 15, that you end slavery in 7 years, unless the slave wants to stay your slave. They leave that part out. See? Now, ironically, that part is kind of referring to Jews.
Right.
It's interesting. But if you are the original Jew, which would make you the original Hebrew, so this is interesting. Until America recognizes this. Now you say, well, will America ever recognize the truth? I mean, I'm shocked that we even recognize that black people, Africans from Ethiopia, from the east side of Africa, pretty. They were the first people. But I laugh when I say that because in that little, quote, golden circle, Garden of Eden, you had the Sudanese black folks, darker than me. I didn't think that was impossible. Mm-hmm. And then you had these brown skinned cats like you. So you had super jet black and then brown skin. Sounds like you got the whole color spectrum in your hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
No wonder they say that you were the first people on earth. You got the whole color spectrum, all the body features. So when racism had to acknowledge that, and they still try to disprove that every way they can. This is the situation that we're in. And once you've been told for so long, for so many centuries, that you're the dominant group, that without you, the world wouldn't go around, then what do you expect?
Mm.
And so, until we all die, and then we have to go in front of God with our little videotape, this is what the people who have died had the near-death experiences, and they come back, and they say that you go way up in space, and you keep going through different dimensions, and then you show up, and then they do a video reel of your whole life. So these people, they had lived a charmed life because they were able to kind of smile about it, and then they were told, okay, we're going to send you back to Earth and stuff. Okay, great. But what if you didn't live a charmed life? What if you down here acting the fool and wilding out, and now you're in front of God? He looking at you, and you looking at him like, oh, he's black? Oh my God.
Shocker.
But I joke when I say that, because I swear to you, in Exodus in 20, I thought in those commandments they said you don't put a picture of what's above and what's below. I thought for sure that was one of the commandments. I'm pretty sure I read that. So we selectively pick which parts of the Bible we want to use. And the reason why I bring that up is we'll keep talking about these same problems because we want to address the root. And so here, I got it on Deuteronomy 15. Yeah, and it talks about the Hebrew man and slavery and all that, and being set in the 7th year. Here, let me see if I can even find this. Exodus 20.
While you're looking for it, I just
okay. Here it is. Exodus 20:4. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven. Now, if you believe in God or Allah or Yahweh or Adonai, we believe he's in heaven, not down in the ground, from the air. Supremacy. All right, so that's what it says here. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath the earth. The water underneath the earth. See, that's way above my pay grade. I don't know what that means. So it sounds like God was just doing the most. So this is what he's saying now. This is in Exodus 20. Yes, I'm in the King James Version, and yes, I guess the king was crazy and this and that. But this is as close as we can get to, I think, the Greek to the Aramaic, whatever. Okay, but this is what it's saying. So every time a person reads the Bible, there's certain verses someone knows backwards and forwards, and they'll rip your head off with it.
Mm-hmm.
I only know a couple. But so all these God-fearing Republicans, I believe in God. You believe in God as long as he's white. If God came down today right now and said, hey, it's me, I'm a brother. Oh my God. You know what? You know what? It'd be even worse if Jesus came down and he was a brother with dreadlocks. Oh, that would just, well, they'd run him back up to heaven.
I've spoken about American Christianity before. I haven't done it at length. But there is no hate like American Christian love. And that's the unfortunate truth about it. And Kirk was a foundational pillar of white Christian nationalism, but I still don't.
Wait. You sure you want to call him? You sure? That's kind of hard now.
Absolutely,
hardcore to call him a white Christian nationalist.
He was.
You believe that Charlie Kirk was a white Christian nationalist?
Yeah, he was.
I can't go there.
He was. Go check it out. I've listened to a lot of his debates, especially when it came to his spin on the Christian religion. He absolutely was.
So what was his spin on the Christian religion?
White Christian nationalism.
So, okay. So to all the viewers, because we don't pre-rehearse. Because one minute I'm too pro-black for some, and then the next minute I'm too much of an Uncle Tom, and then the next minute I'm too much of a black Republican, and then the next minute I'm just crazy. And I told you can't put me in no category. I don't know if Charlie Kirk was a Christian white nationalist. Those are some strong words.
An hour ago, Charlie Kirk, religion, Christian beliefs, Catholic, Mormons, yada, yada, yada. Christian nationalist Charlie Kirk's complex religious beliefs are values engage Catholic and Mormon ideas, framing faith through a political lens. Going down to another one, Kirk promotes the anti-Semitic cultural Marxism conspiracy theory and has described universities as islands of totalitarianism. Charlie Kirk went from college dropout to blah, blah, blah. Who was Charlie Kirk, the young hero of U.S. conservatives? Charlie Kirk, a Christian nationalist who essentially acts as, and these are just different heads that I'm reading real quick.
And I don't know what site, but I want to go back to that thing about the Mormons and the Catholic Church, because he lumped them together. Well, there are certain people on the left who believe the same thing he believes on that. Now, he talked about the colleges being a bastion for total
for wokeness. For totalitarianism.
Well, listen to this. He's not completely wrong. So, if you're trying to run game, if you don't believe in God and you believe in Lucifer or the devil, the suspect has been released. That was the first suspect.
Yeah, that was the person that that was the wrong person. Now, since then, Cash Patel, the FBI came out and said that they actually caught the suspect.
Okay. So if you don't really believe in God and you believe in something else, how do you attack God's righteousness? From the left, in one way, getting rid of school prayer, promoting homosexuality, which the Bible speaks directly against. Live and let live. The Bible speaks against that. That's from the left. But if you want to attack God and his righteousness and Jesus Christ for love, to show love to everyone equally, regardless of their race, then you can attack from the right by portraying God as being white and only for a certain group of people, and then portraying the pseudo-Jews as the real Jews, which talks about it in Revelations. That's how you attack from the right. So if I'm the devil, if you believe in that, or Lucifer, if you believe in that, I'm going to attack from both sides. I'll never lose.
Sure.
That's what the devil does. So only those who are the true believers, regardless of what political spectrum you're on, will have the Spirit of God in them. I feel like you'll have the Spirit of God in you, and you'll be able to recognize who's speaking the righteous truth from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So does that mean that I hate homosexuality? No, I don't hate you. Do I think that men and women should be able to get married, which Charlie Kirk was against? It's tricky, because if you're going to allow them to raise children, then you have to let them get married. If you don't allow them to adopt because it's an abnormal lifestyle, now you're kind of using your religious beliefs somewhat to enforce your religious beliefs upon them. So in the one sense, gay marriage should be allowed. But on the other sense, to say that it's a perfect lifestyle, it's a regular lifestyle, no, it's not. So how do you do that? How would Jesus love you and wash your feet and let you know that the kingdom of God is here for you, and still tell you, but your actions could upset my Father and you may not get there? How do you even have that conversation? Charlie Kirk allegedly was going to these college campuses and having open debates.
He was.
And we have to give him credit for that. It's true. That's why we don't let single mothers raise children. That's a great point, Jimmy Morin. And the Republicans are big on that. Two-family household. And guess who else used to be big on two-family household back in the day? Until the welfare.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember the Democratic Party. But
black folks.
Oh, and black folks still are on it. It's just that black
folks is behind that.
Actually do a whole segment on that one day. Okay. We should actually do it, because I can go in with that one.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, I'm not gonna. One thing I have learned over the years, white folks hate when you call them racist. They hate that. That just makes their blood boil. Or is there a few white people who are racist? Sure. Now, the level of prejudice, that's a deep issue. That's why I don't want to call Charlie Kirk. The man just died. So can you be a racist in America, allegedly, and die and still get respect? Because he wasn't advocating violence. So are you still allowed to be a racist in this country, in this great country? Are you still allowed to be a racist? And as long as you're not espousing political violence, should you be able to speak those things on a college campus that could be considered racist or highly prejudiced without being shot?
Absolutely. And so I respect. Let me be honest. I'm not going to talk about him like he was such a great person to me
Right.
because he died. Because my opinion of him still stays the same. Yeah, a lot of Gen Zs and millennials, so on and so forth, think that we're post racism, and that's because there's been a meticulous job done with removing the truth from educational institutions in some fashion, because it's all become politicized. Now, I don't think what this is why I say that, right?
Okay.
The truth about what's happened to the enslaved people of America has been politicized and removed. And the only time that it actually gets talked about or actually gets some attention is when these bastards go up for re-election every 4 years. Other than that, they don't come to say, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, so on and so forth. But every 4 years, we hear a motherfucker talking about having hot sauce in their purse, or
Well,
we hear a motherfucker talking about if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Right.
Okay. You know, you got clear-cut examples.
Yeah.
I'm going to go before that.
Well, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, because here's another push. An addition. Just because the man passed doesn't mean that I don't still hold the same opinion of him that I had before he passed.
Right.
He's spoken a lot of false misinformation, represented a lot of wrong numbers about our culture, and did not have the wherewithal to correct himself when being presented better information. Oh, good luck. When being presented better information and having an opportunity and a platform to pivot. The hypocrisy of both the Democratic Party as well as the Republican Party when it comes to family households, and when it comes to abortion or pro-choice, all that other stuff, those are part of the platforms that I know that they use, again, in order to keep people divided and subvert them. Should prayer be in school? I don't know that it should, but I also don't know that it shouldn't. If we allow prayer in school, it can't just simply be Christian prayer. You have to allot time for every religion that goes to that school to practice that. And to platform one religion above another removes the actual American idea of freedom of religion, the constitutional precept and right that we're given. That's
wait. Hold that thought for a second.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Remember I was talking about Lucifer and how he can attack from the left and from the right?
Yeah.
This is how good his game is. And I don't want y'all to think that I'm hanging out with Lucifer, hanging out and drinking, having a good time. So on one hand, the devil says, well, I don't want you believing in God. You know, he ain't all that. He always trying to tell you what to do. You don't need him. Take him out your schools. And then he turns around on the other hand. Well, you know, you don't have God in your schools. You'll lose sight of who you are. You'll lose your country. Because he knows that the whole trick to this, once you allow Christian prayer, well, you got to let the Jews have their prayer. They're the chosen people. Well, what about the Muslims? Oh, yeah, I guess. Hold on. Wait a minute. Tyrone, what is that you got on? Is that a pentagram? Well, hold on, brother. Man, you know, I'm down for Satan, man. You know, I'm down for the Illuminati. I'm trying to get mine. I'm listening to JQ. So, you know, I want to give out my shout out and stuff. You can't let a brother worship Satan and stuff. What's up? Now the devil has got you both ways.
But even with that being said, if the whole experiment, and this is from the Christian purview, right? If the whole experiment of Christianity is to allow free will to make its movement so that people have the choice to either serve deity or serve something else, what's
Ooh,
wrong with the person who wants to
ooh. Wait a minute.
that's part of their free will movement,
Wait a
unless you
minute.
don't believe in free will.
Well, you hit it. Because that opens up
Yeah,
that idea of free will. See, ain't no thing as such. This is where I get into it, people. There's no such thing as free will. You think you're under free will. No, you're not. But the devil wants you to make you think that you do have free will. Well, why do you say that, Richard? Because when he tempted Eve, he said, "Hey, go ahead and hit the apple. Come on and hit that thing. You ain't gonna die." He was right. She didn't die physically. Her and Adam still kept living. Now they said they died spiritually, but not physically. But the devil knew that.
well, and then so the
So
debate
they didn't have a choice.
well, the debate for the spiritual death would be if they died spiritually, well then what is it that anybody in their lineage could actually do in order to regain salvation?
It wasn't. I saw that. I saw that. First of all, Emmanuel. Wait a minute. Emmanuel Manny Castro Lugo. Anyway, hey, I want to go back to what Jimmy Moran was saying about a lot of white millennials and Gen Z think we're living in a post-racial.
Yeah, that's
what's
brothers from my lodge out in California, Mountain View.
Wait a minute. So one minute they say we're having too much critical race being taught in schools and we need it removed, and then Jimmy's saying that they're being taught that there is no racial issue.
Right.
Here's what I would come back and say in regards to Charlie Kirk, because I don't know if Charlie Kirk was against rap music or not. I don't know. So when I see certain things in certain people, I watch them really, really closely because I detect something. But you and I are from the South. So when we hear European Americans talk a certain way, we look at you. We look at you. We know that feel. So whatever Charlie Kirk was doing, it cost him his life. So he was doing something powerful. And so when they say, well, other people are going to be afraid. Remember what I said to you months ago, or even last year? I said, I'm going to die to be reinstated as the local 1000 president. I'm going to put my life in my hands. And someone blows my brains out for running my mouth and fighting the status quo. And if I got to go like that, then that's fine. I've lived long enough. I'm good. I don't have a kid. I don't have a wife. I don't have anything. I'm good. I'll probably see my mother. I know she made it. But until you're willing to die, and if you let this situation from today where a person was speaking his conviction, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, who knows? It's subjective. He was willing to put his life in his hands. Now, as a veteran, fellow veteran, and when Deuce comes on, an active duty veteran, we've already put on one occasion our life in the government's hands to die for you. But when you don't serve the government in the military role, or you're not in law enforcement, or firefighters, or even maybe in the hospital, first responders, when you're still willing to die for what you believe in, then I gotta respect you, whether it's right or whether it's wrong. And that's why I said with rappers, at the end of the day, they were willing to die for what they believed in. Tupac, Biggie, all of them. So when you find a group of people or a person who's willing to die for what they believe in, you don't have to agree with their reasonings, but you have to agree that they were willing to die for it. I don't respect terrorists in the Middle East, but they're doing all they can for what they believe is right. And they're willing to die for it and take anybody out with them. I respect that. So I respect Charlie Kirk. And if he was a true hardcore racist, I don't know if he was true hardcore racist. I don't know. But I still respect him.
I don't think he was a hardcore racist. I think he had his convictions. I think he I don't even think a lot of the things that he said he believed. I think he understood his platform and he made money from that. That's how he supported his family. It was a hustle for him, right?
Well,
And I,
hold on. Let's not say hustle because he died for that hustle.
well, okay. So when I say hustle, it was his career, right? That's how he was paying his bills, right?
Okay.
And so what I've always respected, is a worthy opponent. Is a worthy opponent. And I'll go back and forth on Facebook with some of my brothers, and we'll get passionate.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I would still respect the head-to-head engagement that we have. I don't want to off anybody because of their opinions. I don't. But I also think that there are still consequences to rhetoric. I wish that college campus would have had the proper security in place. They know that he comes with a charged type of energy.
Right.
They understood that. And maybe they got complacent because it was in Utah.
Hmm.
Maybe, that should have been safe ground for him.
Well,
to
one quick thing.
Mhm.
You would be 1,000% correct if it wasn't for that recent murder of those college students a year or two ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So they should have had some. Let me go ahead.
No, so that's my point. They know that it's possible for these things to happen, and they didn't have proper security. They didn't have proper security.
Listen to this. The proper security. Listen to this. Where's the Democrats screaming about remove the guns? They ain't said a word.
Nope.
On this particular situation.
Nope. And this is like this gun situation, this violence, this inability to be tolerant of somebody else's opinion outside of your own, this inability to be intolerant of somebody's political decisions outside of it, the inability to simply be human to other folks, that's gotten we are in dire strains.
But were we always like that from the very beginning?
Oh, we absolutely
That's why we had to have a civil war.
We absolutely were. Again, this country started off like that. And with the rise and fall of different presidents, you've seen it come out of an American society. But again, generally speaking, it was against us, right? It was against our culture, which is why we had to have the National Guard escort our children to school. And we found strange fruit in different parts of the country in certain decades, right? Or we had our skin used as clothing, or even for, again, and I'll speak for my brothers and sisters, when the Taino people had began to become colonized, so on and so forth. So, but generally speaking, this country was built on a foundation of supremacy and hatred. And unfortunately, rhetoric has its consequences, but it shouldn't be this. It should be an equal type of force, not an overbearing, overwhelmingly harsh or strange force to simply win the day, quote unquote, the day.
Well, you know what? Like I said, when Trump was elected, the Supreme Court is going to have to actually work for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Everything that he does goes to the court, and then it will be finally decided in the United States Supreme Court, which I see Oscars on, and I know he's got a lot to say about that decision where the Supreme Court said that race can be one of the relevant factors in the ICE doing their job. I'm sure he's got a lot to say from one side.
So go ahead, ask. Let's get your points of view on both the late Mr. Kirk as well as SCOTUS, ICE policing LA and other cities. If you're able to. If you can hear us. Oh, there you are.
Here I am. Yeah, it seems like there's a little bit of a connection issue here. It's a very heavy day. As many are feeling it. When it comes to racial profiling as a means to ICE to do their work. I mean, it's something I always disagree with. I mean, I disagree with just looking at somebody and being able to profile them, and but yeah, I don't know. I don't
No, you get off
know.
that easy.
I'm not much for words in that sense right now at the moment, especially with
No. Wait a minute. Hold on,
the
Oscar.
horrific things that have happened
Is
today.
it-
So
Oh, okay. Because I know you got more to say. See, this is where I'm caught on this racial profile, because I know I've been racial profiled my whole life.
Yep.
But something bad is, well, we always say this. This is crazy. Something bad's going to happen regarding ICE doing this job. If you come to the country illegally, you're here illegally, misdemeanor. Get caught again, I guess it's a felony. But you're here illegally, you broke the law. If a president gets elected and says, I'm going to enforce the law that's already on the books, but they're supposed to do it in a certain level of decorum, but you know with President Trump, that's not going to happen. We're going to have a situation, and that's just with illegal immigration. And then with the Charlie Kirk situation, Oscar, a person should not lose their life because of their political ideology, as long as it's non-violent, it's not promoting violence, and go out and do something with the use of a firearm or some type of killing machine. But I do see I do see them all being kind of connected.
So, Oscar, real quick, just to go back a little bit, what are your thoughts on the Charlie Kirk incident?
sure, yeah, no, for me, it's highly unfortunate. I mean, I personally disagree with a lot of stuff that he's said. However, I always find it important to have the ability to have the discussions, right? It is very important and crucial for the foundation of a country, a free country, to be able to express your views, however much people may disagree with it. You know, um, it's really unfortunate what has happened. People have already hopped to blaming liberals, but I'm one that we don't have the data yet. We don't, or the information yet. We don't have the actual facts. Who knows if it was like whoever, right? Tensions are high. It's not, I don't think, correct to automatically pin a political party or ideology to the tragedy, you know. So I mean, that's where I stand. I think nobody should ever lose their life for their opinions. That only deters people from having opinions and discussions and having the tough discussions out of fear that some crazy will ultimately take their life for being involved in political discourse.
Quick question. This is for Mr. Glass.
Mm-hmm.
Since this situation today, do you think the security for Mr. Stephen Miller has increased?
Probably.
What about Steve Bannon?
Hopefully. Hopefully. And I am no fan of Stephen Miller, and I absolutely detest him, and I hope he gets deported. But I don't want him to lose his life, maybe. Most days.
Oh my
Most
God.
days. Because I think the honest truth is, I think that he has every right to express his opinion and his feeling and his prejudice and his bigotry as much as he wants.
Well, wait a minute. Listen to where I'm going with this. I believe Stephen Miller, Steve Bannon, I believe both houses in the federal government, they need additional security. Do you think they'll get it now?
As long as they are tied to the current administration, they will.
Okay, so guess what? You just walked into the trap. See, you give them additional security, but the schools, oh, you don't care about them.
No, I think that the political strata, again, they're so far removed from the everyday average person's life that that's just who they are. So yeah, they will give those guys extra security while leaving our babies out here in the wild.
And it,
Yeah.
it goes to prove my point.
Yeah.
So, I just saw allegedly, Facebook sends you all kinds of stuff about, I don't know what's true and what's not. They say Jasmine Crockett is getting married. Well, great for her. I didn't know her and I had scheduled a date yet. Anyway, I'm still trying to save up the money for the ring, but I guess I don't need the ring. Anyway, she needs security.
Yeah.
Anybody with high profile from either side, and I would tell any celebrity, anybody who's outspoken in this country that has a following that can influence voters, keep your head on a swivel. But don't stop talking. Because once you get afraid to talk, then they've won. This is where I give the Republicans their respect. They said, yeah, you may have taken Charlie Kirk, but we ain't stopping.
Well, that I don't know if that's respectable. I think at this point there needs to be a moment of clarity, a point of saying, okay, we got to index this exercise, right? We need to stop. We need to pause. Let's reassess, and we can maintain our convictions. But we just assisted in getting someone killed.
They can't.
They can.
No, they can't.
Oh, they absolutely can, but they won't. It's too late to apologize. It's never too late to be like, hey, listen, we've done a lot. We've said a lot. We've contributed and created an environment along with our counterparts, the Democrats, that have done this, and this. Let's actually go back. Let's take a pause for a second, America, and let's remember what the Constitution is about. But nobody's going to do that.
Something tells me they're not going to do that. That's not the point.
It's never
this is kind of like where I am a little angry and frustrated at the place we find ourselves. It's the frustration I have when something like this happens, that people automatically throw the idea of like, oh, it's a trans liberal that's done this. There's no information yet. We don't know, right? So by murking the waters that way, you're only feeding into the fear tactics of one side or the other, right? Which heightens the fear, heightens the tensions, and keeps people further divided, right? It's important for people on both sides to understand that, yes, both sides are targets, unfortunately. And when stuff like this happens, it even heightens that. And like I said, unfortunately, what happens is crap like this makes people more reluctant to voice opinions. It serves as a deterrent, and it just sucks. So that's why I'm kind of like melancholy today. It's the fact that how did we even get here?
No.
It's
be melancholy. You should be asking President Trump to demand death penalty for this person, because he demanded that death penalty for that brother who they say is schizophrenic down in North Carolina for killing that Ukrainian woman. So he came out fast on that within 2 or 3 days and said death penalty. So I want to hear you come out with that same speed and that same intensity on this person, regardless of who it is. Because I can guarantee you this, if that person had been, I don't want to pull the race thing, but that had been a black person, his name would have been announced already. If that had been a transgender person, they would have had your name and your address already. So they're still looking.
100%.
They're still trying to
and that's all.
Okay.
I was going to say, unfortunately, that's the common case in most situations like this. When it's, unfortunately, when it's a Caucasian person, They do more due diligence before they release any information. If it's an Arab, if it's a Latino, if it's a black person, if it's whatever the race is, all of a sudden it becomes about their race, or it becomes about
Hold on,
the
Oscar.
the trans killer, you know?
Hold on, Oscar. Wait a minute. Oh, he said it so smoothly, Mr. Glass. He said the due diligence. Huh. Is that equal to white privilege? Do they go to the same party? Are they in the same neighborhood? Are they neighbors? You got that right. Due diligence.
Right.
They're gonna do due diligence.
Yep.
They're gonna make sure. Like, remember the man? He went inside the black church, the AME church down there in South Carolina, that Dylan Roof, and killed them black folks. And those black folks, they love God so much. They said, "Oh, we forgive you." What?
Yeah, damn all that.
You know, and that's righteous love. And remember, they came and got him, stopped him off, and got him some Burger King because he said he was hungry and stuff. Could you imagine if I had to take my melanated ass inside a Catholic church? No, not a Catholic church. A Southern Baptist white church, and start killing up white folks. I'm not seeing no McDonald's. Hell, I'm not seeing the court system.
I'm about to say you're not making it off site.
No.
Yep.
And so,
See,
but
that's one of the things that like really the fact that like when it is somebody that is, you know, a Middle Eastern person, a Latino person, a black person, it's you hardly ever hear the stories of those people making it out alive. But when it is a Caucasian person, it's like, oh yeah, captured. And you know, you watch the footage, you watch the videos, they get treated so well. It's like, you know, like so you're like, how does that happen? Like the other people get a gazillion bullets, and this dude gets walked into a vehicle and then sent to prison and then on a trial, you know?
Wait, sir, could you bend your head down, please? Because we don't want you to bump your head as we put you into the car.
right.
I'm sorry. I just the man alive.
Manny, I see you. I don't know if you can hear us. You froze up on us a little bit. Oh, he's in. There you are. Okay, there you are.
I can't. I think it's not. Let me call you in through your phone line. Put me in through your YouTube.
We hear you loud. Oh, he can't
Oh,
hear us?
y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, this whole situation, honestly, it's heartbreaking. Why? Because as Americans, we see how the very own system we have defended for so long is failing in front of our eyes. It's not fair as a father to just think about how this kid, because everything that happens on the internet stays on the internet forever. That one day those poor kids will be able to witness this live right there. That to me alone is what it's heartbreaking for me. Those who know me, I'm not politically inclined in no way, shape, or form, because I just believe in the right thing. When you do the right thing, then I'm happy. If you're doing the wrong thing, I'm just gonna call you out. That's just how I am. But we can't cover the sun with our hands. We know that this is only one of the beginnings to make a highlight statement for worse things to happen. Because, and not only because this has happened in the past, but not at the time that we're living. We're living such sensitive times that, like Jay was saying earlier, we can't even stand our own brother's opinion or beliefs, let alone, you know, respect one another. It's like the great America is no longer America anymore. You know, when I was growing up in Puerto Rico, and mind you, I only came to the state a couple of years ago. I came to the States in 2013. And that America that I remember when I was a child, it's non-existent.
Mm.
It's non-existent. You know, honestly, and I've talked to Jay about this many times. It's like the racism situation. I didn't experience this, and I think I consider myself lucky because living in the island, you don't see that. You don't see that. It's an American thing, and I believe that in probably other countries, they don't even experience that. You know,
Yeah.
it's just heartbreaking to see how the system is just completely failing. You know, it's bro. I just saw a video of because I'm ever since I saw it, I text Jay. I was like, Jay, Charlie Kirk was shot, and I
Mhm.
was in shock, but I didn't understand. I didn't understand my own emotions. It's like, why am I upset at this? I don't understand why. Because, and I only understood it when I saw his family. That's when I understood. It's like we are so selfish, or the people nowadays so selfish between their own, and they got their own mindset to certain ideas that they can't even respect a life. Bro, where are we living? We can't respect somebody else's life.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why I had said all the different music genres that black folks have created, this hip hop rap genre is very critical because it's the number one genre across the world. But what does it really preach about? It's not preaching about long term success. It's preaching about short term, quick gratification with the use of the N word of black men calling other black men and then women calling each other derogatory terms.
This
That's
is
not.
why Tyrese, I'm sorry to cut. This is why Tyrese Gibson
Mhm.
said that the microphone, a lot of all these young folks right now using a microphone as, you know, to jabberish and talk bullshit, and they forget that the microphone is a gateway to people's soul and mind, and they have a superpower to push out the right message. But they're not doing it because what? Capitalism. Capitalism
Yeah.
is God for these kids nowadays. It's not like how it used to be. Hip hop was created by black and brown. And I gave a little history lesson to one of my homies yesterday. It was created by the Jamaicans, the native blacks in New York, and Puerto Ricans. Those are the original creators of hip hop. And I told them the message, don't only study the history, study what they were saying. Because it was poetry, it was the struggle, it was giving people game. That's the word, giving people the opportunity to, oh shoot, I can tell people how I'm feeling. They forgot that because the industry, bro, honestly, I'm telling you right there, after the prohibition ended with alcohol and tobacco and everything, what they did is they took over, the government took over music because that was the next thing that they control easily to the masses. That's what it is. That's what it is.
I would. I'm not going to disagree with you. I would say that rap was the continuation of blues, and but the blues never really became so dominating, and the blues wasn't based off of using drugs. So the blues is based off of black folks fighting systematic racism in the South, and they could sing about it in such a way that the white folks knew what they were saying in the South, but it was okay. And so I think when the rappers came, They were talking about not only am I black and I'm disenfranchised, but I'm black within Black America and I'm
No,
disenfranchised.
yeah, of
So
course, I agree. And even beyond, even if we go beyond the blues, beyond the history, we go back to Muddy Waters time, before Muddy Waters, before all that, when African slavery became singers in the field was to deliver a message between each other that the white didn't understand. That's how it started.
yeah, yeah.
Because why in this country, in everybody's face, we gotta hide from each other to just tell each other that we love each other? Like, this is the only place that you have to do that.
Because
I
everything
don't
in
understand.
America, everything in America, and I was saying this at the barbershop earlier today. The reason why is because everything in America is for sale. There's nothing that is sacred. Everything is about capitalism. I don't care what part of our society you look at. And I've said this before, from giving birth to children, to marriage, to religion, to basic health, right? Eating,
We
having electricity, having shelter, having decent clothing, everything in America.
we have forgotten the principle of how and why was the actual country founded. Trusting in one almighty person.
No, wait a minute. Now,
And
this is where I have to halfway disagree with you. This country was founded because somebody didn't want to pay taxes to King George over in England, so they wanted to run somewhere else and do their own thing.
oh no, yeah.
Find their capitalist freedom.
That's
And then they
that's always
use
been the case.
slaves
No,
as
of
All
course, of
revolutions.
to
course.
help them catch the
Yeah, of
God.
course.
Okay, all right. That's
The only
But when it
revolution
comes
that
to
was actually
society,
sorry about that.
what was that? No, go ahead.
I was going to say the only revolution that was fought for the liberation of people. Which country was it? It was the Haitians.
Yeah.
It was the Haitian Revolution. The
Toussaint
only one that was fought for the liberation of people. Every other battle and every other war in Latin America to the Americas, everything was fought because of taxes.
Well, yes and no.
That's really what it was.
Well, let's even think about that, because after the Haitians ended up settling and getting their freedom, they still owed France for hundreds of years after.
Oh yeah, they just paid off their debt to France, or their reverse reparations to France about 5 years ago.
you said reverse.
Billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. And this, as much as I disagree with Charlie Kirk, the man didn't deserve to be taken away from his family.
But people should know that
100%.
that what we're talking about and what Manny was saying, that this whole conversation kind of goes back to the founding of this country. And so when you say, Mr. Glass, you say, capitalism. And I've said that same thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Trump said, hey, I'm a businessman and I'm not going to change who I am. And he got elected twice off of his capitalistic approach. And he says, I'm going to make America great again, how it used to be, based off the capitalism that made this country great.
Which was hatred. That's America's actual the currency that we actually use. It's because I agree with you in the point of economics that it's a pseudoscience, and the fiat dollar is something that comes out of thin air. Our actual currency is hatred. Name something that America has sold outside of hatred. Name war. We've sold war. Our music that we once called sacred, it began to become the Pepsi era. Michael Jackson. It was sold. Everything that America's original currency is hatred. That's what we've sold. And we've done it so well, and we've dressed it up so beautiful and so pretty and so cute for the rest of the world to see that we forgot. Holy crap.
So you're saying that we're the #1 country in the world on selling some bullshit?
if we ain't the number one, we damn near in the top two.
No, we're number one. We're number one. But continue.
Yeah. What
That is true. That's where we were. That's how we were losing a lot of hold and ground on a lot of countries around the world. That,
Yes.
that say, like the African nations, when China was going in and building infrastructure, when they were interviewed, they said, "Hey, we can't eat off of democracy or promises of democracy, but we can eat because of tangibles, roadways, schools, libraries, and all this other stuff."
And you know
And
what?
we sold ideologies to a lot of those countries.
But you know what, Oscar? I hate to say this.
Say it.
My African brothers and sisters in those different African countries, they're going to find out that all those tangibles that the Chinese sold you, you may find out long term, you've been belting off dealing with the American white man. You may find that out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's worse. They basically own you. The
So the
Chinese
American
do
white
that
man,
in order
he's going to own you too, but he's going to make you feel good about it.
Let me
yeah.
let me kind of pivot a little bit, because the Supreme Court's ruling, which again, I just want to put these into some context. The Supreme Court's ruling, and even Justice Sotomayor said, don't just read what she said about it, but also go back and read the opposite side. It was ruled they were ruling under the pretext of the emergency orders from the current administration, that they're saying that we are actually pushed under emergency orders, right? So the engagement, the involvement with ICE, because ICE was never actually a thing that was argued at the lower court. It was the National Guard, right? So the ICE does not fall under posse comitatus at all. ICE is a federal agency that's governed by the President of the United States. They are doing, let me not say they are doing, they are exacerbating. They are massaging. They are presenting. They are they are promoting the hatred that America is. They're willing to take people. They're willing to treat a human less than human because of a propagandized fear that these folks are doing something to Americans, or taking something from Americans that we weren't going to do in the first goddamn place, right? So with ICE rolling in, because it's legal, they can do it. They can do it. Everybody that has an issue with this man being killed and taken from his family, you should begin to look at the humanness of other people and recognize that and say, damn, we can't allow somebody to split this family up like that.
But hold on. See, this is when you go to the foundation. If you go to the foundation, to everyone from Latin America, from Asia and Europe, Africa, who come to America legally, okay, and then you decide that you can't afford to come to the country legally, you come illegally. You don't stay 6 months, make you a few dollars, and go back home. You stay and say, I'm never going back home. I'm gonna keep making this money and send it back to the country I came from. So if you elect somebody who says, I'm gonna enforce the laws on the books, and then you say, well, I got married here, or I have children I had here on this soil, we don't want to leave. So if you send me back, you're separating us. But you knew when you came over, you were illegal. So anything that you did, anything that you touched, could come into a situation long term. Now, this is what a certain percentage of white America is saying. Now, there's some black folks like me, and we're looking at this and saying, well, you're being exploited for low wages. And so this same gringo that beat you for the land in the Southwest, that disrespected you this whole time, and you're going to still come back across and work for this gringo? But you look at me and roll your eyes at me because I'm getting high on crack cocaine, walking around my pants sagging because I won't work for no low wages. I don't know. It's a tough issue on this.
I don't. Yes and no. It's a tough issue when you think about the treatment of the people.
Did they break the law though?
And not, you won't have any argument with me on that.
It's the administration of the law. right?
You-
It's the administration of enforcing the law.
It's not even the enforcement per se. It's the rationale behind how this whole thing was it was pushed out to say that, okay, I know this is America, but
Mhm.
as a justice in the Supreme Court, the United States of America, we are going to go ahead and allow people to be detained or arrested, possibly because you speak Spanish, because you work at a low earning job, because you look like you're Hispanic.
That's
So
one of the relevant factors. One of the relevant factors. That's the key word. That's what they say.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
In the legal ruling, because Oscar knows the ruling.
But that's a part of it. Like, wait a minute. First off, if you're not making 6 figures and above in America at this point, we're all getting low. We're all being paid low wages.
Wait a minute. If someone says you're going to use this to continue to racially profile illegal immigrants, they're right.
Yeah.
But if I go to Lowe's or Home Depot and I see some people outside who I know they're from Latin America or from Mexico, I know they're not here legally.
How? Because if you see Oscar who's doing a project on his house at a Home Depot and he's got some drywall and he's walking back out,
wait a minute,
brother, born in America.
Hold on, that's correct. But see, I don't know what state, if Oscar's from California or what state he lived in. But see, you talking to a person, yeah, I live in California, but first I lived in Arizona for 8 years.
Yeah.
So I know firsthand about illegal immigration. I've worked with them. And when they did something back in Arizona some years ago, and they pissed off the Mexicans. And they said, oh, that's just how you feel about us? We won't show up for work for a day. And let's see how this affects you. Nothing got done that day on that works construction site.
Mm-hmm.
Then they came back the next day to show their impact. Now, that was just in Arizona where I was at in Phoenix. But everybody in Arizona and Phoenix metropolitan area, they know the entire construction, landscaping, hospitality, all the workers in your restaurants in Scottsdale, they're all illegal immigrants. In fact, when I used to deliver donuts and stuff to these restaurants, when they were tipped off, the ICE was coming, don't come to work. And I would go in there and I see all the gringos scrambling. I mean, they working their asses off. They moving. Oh, put them here. I'm like, what's going on? Where's all the workers at? Oh, they can't come to work till the ICE is coming. Oh, okay. And they moving around, they scrambling, working their asses off.
You know, I'm glad you did make that point, because it is worth saying that this is really not something that's new. It's something that's been on the books. It's something that America could have been doing for a long time. First off, we gave up a lot of rights as Americans under the Patriot Act, right? I want to throw that out there. So along with that comes this grand storming or this super movement of ICE coming into democratic cities. Let's be honest about it, right? And again, the issue that I have is how it was outlined by the justice, right? And the way that he essentially said, like you recognized, racial profiling is okay as long as ICE is doing it. Well, that puts a lot of us at stake.
They said you can use race as one of the relevant factors, but not the sole factor.
Not the sole factor, but it's a relevant factor. But who is going to say it's such a vague statement to make.
I know, but that's how they get out of saying that it's not racial profiling. Yeah. It shouldn't violate the U.S. Constitution. Now,
absolutely, because I feared for my life as well, right? It's a very simple thing.
Because you're supposed to be the 13th, 14th Amendment, and 15th Amendment, due process of the 14th Amendment. But if you're just racially profiling somebody, you're not going to get that process.
Yeah, they're not going to get that.
But remember, they said if you're here illegally, you don't get access to that U.S. Constitution the way a U.S. citizen gets access. You don't get full access to it. Now they've been arguing that left and right.
They have been. That ruling hasn't been made yet. I think it's on the docket for November for the Supreme Court.
Is he still there?
He is. He might be caught up.
Yeah,
or something.
I'm still here.
Yeah. So Oscar, this argument about if you're here illegally, do you still get full access to the entire U.S. Constitution? People on TV say, the Republicans say, you don't get full access to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's why I said this illegal immigration. You come to the country illegally, you get exploited for low wages, you can't collect your Social Security. The racial aspect is you say you lost the Southwest, they didn't pay the money for the treaty, and yet the same gringo is exploiting you today. And then you have a family, and then you get sent back and say, well, you're separating me from my family. But you knew you came over here in an illegal fashion. And anything you touch could be illegally touched or contaminated.
Correct.
So my thing is, the truth is, you've been using these people all these years, but you don't want to give them amnesty. The Democrats do. The Democrats do. Republicans saying you ain't getting no damn amnesty. But who's owning all these?
Republicans now, because you have to remember one of the biggest contributors to legalization of Latin Americans and people that were here in the country was George Bush Jr.
Oh,
so,
yeah. And
then it wasn't until Obama that, you know, the biggest deportations and things like that happened.
Wasn't that because his brother Jeb is married to a Latina?
Probably. I don't know if there's a connection with that. But one thing that we always have to realize is, and you're right, I think that it's been the exploitation of a people for the longest time. It's part of capitalism. Unfortunately, it's the deep-rooted underbelly of capitalism that there always needs to be. If the society does not provide a certain working class, a lower working class, then it has to exploit some people, you know, and that's the shitty, harsh truth about it. And that's what's been happening. You know, they come here, we love your labor and we love you doing things cheaply, but hey, once, you know, we get in the political crossfires and we want to, you know, screw a state or two, like we'll just target the state and cripple them to their knees. And, you know, I think it's a big political move, to be honest. I think it's a big political move.
Oscar, when you say, and you're right on this, because Deuce always says this, form of capitalism, you have to exploit a certain lower class. So as soon as you said the word exploit, the first thing I think is, what God do you serve? Not you, Oscar, but the ones who have that mindset. Because you claim you're so righteous. See, the Republicans claim they're so righteous. I believe in God. Really? Mm-hmm. You believe in God? Because if you believe in God as strong as you said that you did, and you believe in family, and these people are coming from another country saying they can't do it in their country, so they come over here to do it, and they believe in their family too, then you would do everything you can to say, we have the number one country, come on in, you'll be able to work, you can keep your family together, you don't have to go back to Mexico or Guatemala or Nicaragua or any of those countries down there. You can stay right here because America is God's country. But you don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't do that. And then you demonize the Democrats because they say, yo, come on over and be exploited. We love you and we'll keep you here because we want you to vote for us. Yeah. We don't really love you. We just want your vote.
All I know is votará por Donald Trump. No soy negro como tú. Je ne suis pas Afro-American. Right?
Did you mix French with Spanish?
I did.
Yeah.
So I'll vote for Donald Trump. I'm not black like you. And for my fellow Haitians, I'm not African American. And so this is me being on the harsher side of this, right? These were the things that we were warning everybody about before the vote was cast, right? We were warning everybody. There was a whole last song, and the band, the group that sang it, her husband got hit. My brothers from the DR, my brothers and sisters from the DR, who's never been black like me. Now you want to be black like me. My Haitian brothers and sisters, my Jamaican brothers and sisters. Nah. Right. And there's a point of foundational Black America that I highly disagree with, but then there's a small part that I do understand. Right. Because there was a separation of from us for protective purposes and for a form of assimilation. Now that the vote has been cast and the administration is in, well, why aren't you out here fighting with us? No, fuck all that. Fuck Black people stay in the house, goddamn it. I'm gonna say that, especially since Mr. Kirk got killed. I said it before. I'm gonna say it again. I wanted to make sure I said that. Just keep y'all asses in the house. My Puerto Rican brothers and sisters, my brothers and sisters born in America that might have Mexican heritage or so on and so forth, El Salvadorian heritage, so on and so forth, Venezuelan heritage, so on and so forth. Keep your asses in the house. This is going to go way south real fast. American hatred has been sparked and is about to be in full swing, especially because of the events that occurred today.
Listen to this, and I'm gonna tie this back to Charlie Kirk. When I was saying things about Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party, people say I was hating. Now she's come out with her book confirming a lot of stuff I was saying about them.
Yeah.
You think she would have kept her mouth shut? But they must have pissed her off so bad. Something really pissed her off. And she's probably right. She may have been used and hustled and disregarded. But something happened. And that's just on the Democratic side, because there's no Democratic unity. All right. And now, unfortunately, Mr. Kirk has died. So now the Republicans. Remember, I was telling you, I said, there's going to be a couple key things that's going to rally people to the polls. They never really vote strongly in the midterms. But a situation like this will send people back to the polls again.
Correct.
Make a message.
I have to disagree with you,
Okay.
unfortunately. And the reason why is the vast majority of Americans moving as a mob, and mobs are very fickle. These motherfuckers they're going to forget after next week.
Okay. And so when we talked about America forgetting about Epstein, I said, no, not so fast, Mr. Glass. Not so fast. Now, allegedly, September 26th, when the Democrats get the rest of their people in those vacant positions, that they say, this is what the Congressman Ro Khanna from California, he's saying,
California.
yeah, we've got the votes, and they ain't all Democrats. So that issue didn't go away as fast as President Trump wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this situation with Charlie Kirk, it may go away for the Democrats. See, I'm still surprised that the Republicans haven't burnt the country down because you tried to shoot the president before he came, in his second term when he got shot. If he had died, there wouldn't be no country. I'm gonna tell you that. I don't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
So he survived. Now, some people say, wasn't a real gunshot. Who knows? Who knows? I don't even have to argue with nobody. I just get out the way. But they're upset about that. But now you've killed one of them. Could you imagine that had been Steve Bannon or Stephen Miller being killed? Oh my God. President Trump would shut the country down. You'd very wrong.
Now that part we'd be in trouble. Right now, Charlie Kirk had a different audience. The audience
that audience was key to helping Donald Trump get reelected. That audience, along with Joe Rogan.
I don't disagree with that, but the audience that he was primarily for, college kids and younger,
Right.
I'm not going to say that they don't have the wherewithal to put things into action, but they are a lot more reluctant to actually do that. These kids
You say Greg Floyd, Trayvon Martin, Philando Castile.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, Mr. Gray, Eric Garnier. Oh God, the one with the cigarettes. Eric Garnier.
Cigarettes.
Floyd. You talking about Floyd?
No, that's George Floyd, the man who got killed for the cigarettes. He had the cigarettes, and
that was Eric.
Eric.
Yeah.
Eric
Gardner.
Okay. So to us black folks, we can yell out their names perfectly. Were they perfectly right? No. Were they perfectly wrong? No. Should he still be alive? Yes. So this Charlie Kirk, and he's just one person. So they don't have to do a lot of memory work. Charlie Kirk. Now I'm inspired. This ain't gonna go down so easy. Now, when we find out who killed this person, and don't let it be a minority. Oh God.
You could count us in the crowd. You could see us. Um,
So what, the minority is most likely a white person?
yes, most likely. Again, we'll kill each other up before we kill somebody else. That's the unfortunate truth. We're not going to go to a political rally and hold anybody hostage.
You may see Charlie Kirk's funeral on TV.
Oh, we
on Fox. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
definitely. Well, I'm not gonna watch it, but it'll be televised for sure.
Yeah. So this is not going to be. Will this inspire the Republicans to turn out in the 26th? I think it will. Someone said, "How do you know this wasn't? How do you know somebody wasn't sacrificed and they didn't know about it?"
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a big conspiracy. But if they're trying to turn out the vote,
yeah, I wouldn't put it past him, but that's a high price to pay for.
He didn't know.
Yeah.
It's
Jason, I posted the link for you, buddy. I'm trying to hang on for you to hop in. I got to wash clothes and pack. I got to be on the road tomorrow, man.
Hold on a second. Now you out the army and you still moving around like you out there doing a mission.
Oh, I ain't got to ask nobody no more. That's why I keep telling people I'm coming to it.
Sit still. Be home. Sit still.
Yeah, no, I can't. I got to go.
Where you? Oh my God.
There's so much to do.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I know Jason wanted to hop on, especially to address the ICE policing stuff, but Jason, come on, bro. You got to hop up here. I'll post the link for you again, my man.
That ICE policing thing, that ICE policing is going to get, man.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was saying, especially with the events that unfolded today, right?
If they try to go back to LA, here's the thing about here. This is my opinion. I can't prove it. If you think you're going to go down to LA and grab people who are illegal, I do believe you will see violence. I believe that. I believe you will see some shots.
Well,
I can't say them other cities, but in LA, there's enough of a Latino Mexican community on both sides of the border. You go looking for that action. Just ask black folks. They'll tell you. You'll find it.
Yeah.
You'll find it.
Oh man. Your countdown too, Jason. I'm glad you figured it out. I'm finna pull you up. Susie, is that you? Which one is that?
Yes, hi, that was good. Hey, can you see me,
You
brother?
gave Susie the phone to try and figure.
I've been trying to figure this stuff out, man, because I love everything you're doing, and I love the debates you're having, and I want to go back to the ICE stuff and immigration stuff. You know me, and you know I have a fiance that has a Spanish orientation heritage.
Mm-hmm.
If she was not here legally, I would deport her ass myself.
Because you love her so much.
Well, I do. She makes a pretty good talker. She's a good woman. But when it comes to ICE and all the other stuff, when it comes down, when it comes down to it, if they come here illegally, understandable. Do it. Do what you got to do. But if you come over here illegally, that's a different story. I mean, we can go down a whole bunch of different rabbit holes about that. Now, granted, I know the whole ICE process and being attained in the United States isn't easy. But if you or your other guests here wanted to go and live in Afghanistan, Syria, Jordan, anywhere else, you'd have to go through the same process. And if you didn't, their laws are a whole lot more stricter than what we have.
So I don't think it's fair to try and compare our country, especially when it comes to countries in the quote unquote Middle East or Jordan, so on and so forth, because we have totally different views on immigration.
I know I went kind of extreme with that, but even Canada, I live 4 hours away from Canada, and
Mhm.
I can't even go there without a passport or a
Mhm.
federal ID.
Because they don't want Americans there.
They don't want Americans there. And
And
as Susan said, which
Why people would want Americans when Americans are acting
hey,
the way?
tell Susie to get her phone and hop on here too.
they want you to hop on here. He said,
I want to go to Canada, but Canada don't want Americans because Americans are acting like crazy people.
Well, let's put things
America
in perspective.
can't get their shit together.
It's not all Americans, Susie. It's not all Americans. It's some Americans.
No, it's not all Americans, but the other majority of the Americans make Americans like people that want to live in peace and united make us look dumb. So all these countries are laughing at us like
Agreed.
dumb Americans.
I
We can't
can-
even be united. We can't even be one front because we're fighting against each other.
and I know our Statue of Liberty means something. Yes, give us your weak, give us your poor. We will take care of them. And we will. I mean, it's already proven that we will take care of the weak and their poor if they do it legally.
So
Yeah.
there's a misconception. There's
Okay.
a misconception.
Uh-oh.
That misconception is that the majority of the undocumented people are coming from the southern border. I had a friend here not too long ago who is he's a lawyer for this very thing, and he's been doing it for a very long time. And after listening and talking to him about a bunch of cases, and this actually comes into play also because just here recently in Georgia, South Koreans were put on the plane to be deported back. There have been Turkish people, there have been Europeans, there have been Brits. Even now, the roundups shouldn't be focused on brown people. That's propaganda. If we really,
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
if we really wanted to get rid of the quote unquote problem and the people that are actually taking the jobs, we need to check people who came here on work visas that generally speaking came from English countries or predominantly white countries. Because I don't see, we don't hear about the Germans. We don't hear about the Russians. We don't hear about, I'm trying to think of the other, those types of folks. Right now, there are some cases, however, where true asylum is actually granted. For instance, LGBTQ is illegal in Russia. So there was a couple that, as I heard it, requested asylum in America, and they were granted it. But the thing that I did not know that he informed me of was just because you're here and you get granted asylum doesn't mean that you have to stay in America. That just simply means that you're not going to be sent back to the country of origin of where you came from.
Well, wait a minute.
Oh,
Mhm.
I was in Arizona. Although all those illegal immigrants I saw in Arizona were from Mexico. When they weren't from Europe, they weren't from Africa, they
Sure,
weren't from Asia, they were from Mexico.
sure.
Now, if a white person says that, they're going to be viewed as being racist. If a black person says it, they say they just mad. They'll say anything. But if a white person made that statement, they would be considered racist. And some white people who would make that exact statement I just made are racist. Some, not all. This is where I say it gets a little tricky. But I want to go back to something stronger that Jason said, because it raised the hair.
Oh,
The
shit.
Middle East. You said the Middle East is a little extreme. But Jason makes a valid point, and I wonder if this is what he was trying to say about the Middle East. A person from the Middle East comes to America legally, but then they want to wear the burqa over their face. Now, I believe in religious freedom, but I don't agree with that.
What?
I don't.
Why not?
And
If you wear the hijab over your hair,
I can't
okay,
walk
as a woman.
the door wearing a mask without
So
me having to
this-
take it off and show them my ID to buy a beer.
Mm-hmm.
The Middle East people, they refuse to take it off, whether they're underage or overage. It don't matter. They refuse to do it because that's their culture.
So the woman that's wearing that burqa we give them that religious freedom. My heart tells me that's wrong. And I'm gonna tell you something. The European countries that have allowed all the Middle Eastern people to come to their country,
Give me one of these, please.
some of those Europeans are racist, but a lot of those Europeans are not racist. And that wearing that burqa and all the terrorism they've been going through in those European countries, because you don't know who's wearing that burqa is really being devout to Allah and they're a peaceful Muslim, or one that's carrying out in their mind an agenda to further the Muslim cause.
Absolutely, and I agree with everything you're saying. And I give two shits, if I'm allowed to cuss a little bit,
Yeah, we
about
cuss.
somebody's religion, race, where they come from. If they come here legally, that's fine. Do it legally, and there will be no problems. But
I
let's
disagree.
let's take in consideration what happened in California not that long ago, as far as the truck driver that was Muslim that killed 3 people because he was not literally a truck driver. He tried to make a U-turn in a medium and chopped off people's heads.
Yeah.
With his tractor and trailer. He was not vetted properly. He was not here. I honestly, I think he was here on a work visa, but he did not do the proper steps to understand our laws, regulations, and rules of the road.
And I don't disagree with that, Jason, but I will also say, and this is the pushback on it, and it's a very simple one-worded rebuttal to it, is Epstein.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just because people know the laws and people have participated in our society and people are citizens, that doesn't make them less apt to break the law. Just like it.
I've broke many laws myself.
Man, don't say that shit. Come on now, Jason.
No, I'm just being honest. I've got 2 speeding tickets and 1 DUI.
All right.
I mean, that's where I'm at. I mean, that's my criminal record.
Yeah. So Americans are more dangerous to other Americans than what undocumented or illegal people are. That's the facts behind that.
And I can see what you're saying and I understand, but when somebody comes from another country, whether it's Mexico, Canada, Syria, Iraq, Ukraine, it don't matter. They need to be tested on how the rules, laws, and regulations go when it comes to our roads. Because you know what, my family is on the roads.
Yeah,
I know what a stop sign is. I know what when it says no U-turn. I know all that stuff. I do, and I've also learned the other countries that I've been to, which you know where I've been to.
Mm-hmm.
I had to be tested to be able to legally drive in those states or countries.
Yep.
And so I'm not making any excuse for the guy. What he did was flat out wrong. But what I would say is, in order for somebody who's undocumented or illegal to actually get a proper driver's license, or anything of that nature, they still have to go through the same tests.
Well, wait a minute.
I mean, they're supposed to, but I don't think they do.
Well, wait a minute.
That's my opinion. I don't think they do. And
No,
yet, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. This is where I was arguing with Mr. Glass's attorney friend from last week, who I thought was Oscar. In the state of California, they've had they've had people be convicted in DMV for basically helping people in this country who they said came over here legally, just give them out CDLs.
Sure.
And that's what happened with the guy in California. Somewhere along the line, he got a CDL to legally drive without going through the United States of America's way.
The DMV for California which
California. I mean that's just California. But if you have COD, that covers the whole country.
the federal government's DOT tells the states this is what you must ensure happens, and then the states administer it the way they want to administer it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, but I know what you're saying overall.
Yeah.
And my thing is, if you don't come to the country, hold on. Let me tell you what President Trump did, in my opinion. When he came into office, he said, "Hey, I want you who are here illegally to tell us who you are, and we'll work with you." And then, if we would encourage you to self-deport. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Laugh their ass off. Then he waited about 30 days, and then he said, "Okay, now I'm coming for you." But you told us you was only coming for the criminals. Well, I'm gonna come for them first. But if you're around the criminals, I'm gonna get you too.
Well, anybody that crosses the border without doing the proper paperwork and everything else, they're already criminals.
And then that's the point that I was about to make.
A
So
misdemeanor criminal.
misdemeanor,
That's what they say.
different.
Which
But
you said in the immigration court. Would you say, Mr. Glass, in the immigration court, a misdemeanor and a felony is different than in the regular civil or criminal court, whatever the hell that means.
yeah,
Oh, I know what it means, and he's right there. There is a whole lot of differences
Okay.
between civil, federal, and everything else. It's going to start off at the lowest level and work its way up. So somebody comes here illegal, they're illegal, but then it starts off at the smallest court proceeding, and then it works its way up. Now, by that time, that person has done give birth or fostered a child and everything else, which that makes that child legal, and it just
So-
it becomes a process at that point.
But wait a minute. The way I understood it, you have a criminal action or a civil action. In this immigration situation, it's neither one. It's in its own third category. That's the way I understood it, if I understood it correctly. Maybe I didn't understand that correctly.
we'll have to come back. Go ahead, Oscar. I got a few minutes left, and then we gotta wrap it up. Go ahead, Oscar. You'll be the last one for this. We're going on the final thoughts.
No, I was gonna say you're correct. It's very different. You have a civil case originally when you're caught the first time, deported. So it's a civil case, deportation. You come back into the country. Now it becomes a felony. You have now created a crime. You have now committed a crime, which is punishable by jail time and also deportation. So the first time is not. First time is civil. Second time is a federal issue. But I was going to say that a quick thought here about a lot of what I hear constantly is assimilation. I think is what people are trying to get to. If you have illegal immigrants or immigrants coming into a country, the assimilation of those people into the very heart and soul of what that country is something that doesn't happen a lot in other countries. And what I mean by that is if you go to certain countries, those countries are not as open as a melting pot as we are. They expect you to speak their language, learn their customs, do everything the way they do it. I see that in Latin America when you have, people that go to Latin America as migrants.
Hey, Oscar,
they kind of go.
can I ask a question on what you
Yep.
said?
We got to.
Why do we need to bend to somebody else's customs as Americans?
That's what a lot of the minorities have been trying to figure out about white people since we've been in this motherfucker. But we got to go, panel.
One last.
Hey, love you, brother.
Wait a minute. Here's my final word. Final word.
Got to end it.
I understand what you just said, Mr. Glass. I understand Jason's perspective from how he's saying it. My only catcher is this. If people want to come to the country, that's great. You don't want to learn English, that's great. But don't expect us to put everything in these other languages, but we already do. But the one thing that we have to hold our ground on is that burqa issue. That has to stop.
Yeah. With that being said,
we gotta cut it. We gotta cut it. I got 30 seconds, and then I'm in a whole bad way. So that being said,
I'll leave it with this: how many Americans are going to other countries?
There is an exodus right now.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. So hop back on, Jason. Everybody, thanks for joining. Thank y'all for coming.
Flash, love you to death. Keep doing what
Yep,
you're doing,
all right.
brother.
All
We'll
right.
do.
Appreciate
And
it.
good.
I don't even know how to hang up.
I got you.